Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Invitation to a Conversation. As everyone knows, this is the weekend of Mother's Day. So, in honor of Mother's Day, I would like to celebrate Miss Porsche Sanford, a single mother of four sons who are 11, 7, 6, and 4. And now let's welcome Miss Sanford. Good afternoon, Miss Sanford. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well. What about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Are you ready to have this in-depth conversation about being a single parent?
I am. I'm definitely ready.
Okay. Have you ever had this type of conversation before?
Never. This is my first time, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And I hope that we can educate other people and let them know that motherhood, some things are common among all single mothers or mothers who aren't single, who are in a relationship, and that we can come to some kind of understanding and listening to let them know that they're not isolated in some of the things that mothers go through as parents.
Right.
So my first question is, um, how old were you when you became the first time mother?
I was 21. I was 21 when I first became a mother.
Were you prepared to be a mother at that age?
No, I wasn't prepared. I was actually in cosmetology school in Aiken, South Carolina, and I got pregnant my last 3 months of school, and I graduated, and then I relocated back to Brunswick to raise my son.
Okay. When did you become a single parent?
It was about 2000 and I want to say like 2012, maybe. Yeah. Uh, yeah. It was a little after, right? It was a little right before my son turned 1 years old.
Hmm.
My son's father was incarcerated, and he did 7 years. He was gone for 7 years, so that was the first time I became a single mother.
Okay. Okay. When you were pregnant, did the gender matter, or it didn't matter, or were you looking for sons? Were you looking for girls? How was that like?
I wanted a girl. I wanted a mini me. I really wanted a mini me. I wanted a
Okay.
girl. I wanted my first. I wanted a girl first, and yeah. So I was still. It was still okay. I was still okay with it though.
Right, right. What do you learn in raising sons opposed to raising girls?
Um. Well. I feel that that boys are. I guess I can't speak for girls, but I could speak for. I have two nieces, so I feel like boys are more just I guess more loving, like they're more affectionate and like to kiss on you and just hug on you um and they kind of stay out the way. They really don't ask for too much attention like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um and they're rough around the edge. They're all boys. Mine is all boys, so they love playing rough you know, and I feel like for girls, now that I have four boys and I can appreciate that. And because I just feel like girls, they do have to have that kind of that special attention and and ooh, I'm grateful that I have boys before I actually had a girl. I feel like now I could have a girl now and really, balance things out more that I because yeah, I don't feel like if I would have had a girl first, it kind of would have been a little rougher.
Hmm. Do you think it's easier? Do you have sisters? You say do you have a niece? So is that from a sister or a brother?
Actually, I have three nieces from one from my brother and two from my sister, and
So
they're all teenagers.
Okay, so seeing them shop, is it easier to shop? How do you feel as though the difference for shopping for boys
Oh,
and girls as they get older in sizes and toys and what they're interested in?
yeah, much easier. I feel like boys I think they're just more easygoing. They're not as emotional, not emotional and stuff like that. So yeah, shopping is very just easygoing. We could go in the store and they automatically go to toys or
Right.
whatever. But as far as like my oldest son, he likes football and basketball. Like I just feel like it's not. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it.
But you said that you think little girls are more emotional at your son's
Yeah.
age than your sons are. You feel?
Yes, I really do. I really do. I really do feel that. I really do. It's a big difference. I just don't feel like you have to give as much to boys as to girls.
Your time.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
like the emotional part.
Mm-hmm.
Um like yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you yell at them, they're not easily, they have their feelings hurt like a little girl
Right.
would or whatever like
Yeah,
that.
temper tantrums and things
Yeah,
like that too. Yes. Yes. Talking back, like the back and forth stuff like that too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. What lessons have you learned from your parents that you use as a parent?
My mom always was big on respect, and she used to always say to us, "Respect is due to a dog." And so that was something that I definitely I carried that and yeah, it was that respect thing. I'm just big on respect. I feel like respect could carry you further than money will. And so I always, let my boys know, it's about respect. I don't care if you don't like anybody or, somebody is if an adult is rude or if you feel like an adult was out of place, come to me about it. And I'll, check that adult, but you're not going to be disrespectful. So that's something that
Yes, yes, because nowadays children think that they can approach the adults and talk to them just as if that adult was their age or whatever. That's very good. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. How are you raising your sons different from how your parents raised you? Are you raising them
Yes, some things. As far as I give more affection and more I guess more time, different things like that. And because that's something that I didn't really experience more, that touchy or I love you and things like that. So I'm just very very adamant about touching and letting them know I love them and making sure they telling each other that, making sure they hug each other before they go to bed at night, and different things like that, that I do implement.
so they will know that coming up so they won't have to think about it or know about it, they'll hear it verbally. I asked you that question, do you raise your kids differently, because every generation says that when they have kids that is different from how the older people raised your kids. So do you think that just because they are in a different generation than us, that the rules of parenting changes?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because it's just not the same as far as like grandmas and a lot of our grandparents has left, so we really don't have as much as that village that we used to have back in the days that I can remember. Everybody looked out for each other, even adults, and people didn't have issue with you checking their kids if something was going on, different things like that. So I really do feel like it's a new generation, and you do have to change. You have to change with the time. but I still implement those old ways, those things that we were brought up on, because that's what I remember. That's what kept us together. That's what, we probably didn't understand at the time, but as you got older, it's like, okay, this was the discipline that helped me to be the person that I am. It wasn't, mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It wasn't like abuse, or it wasn't, hard. It was just tough love. And it's a big difference.
So, would you say that as a child, a lot of things that your mother told you, and you couldn't understand it, do you think that sometimes most parents who are having children now will understand it better once they have children of their own?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because I had to seek, you know, forgiveness, and show more compassion and grace to my mama and my dad once I had my babies. Um, Experience is everything. We can all talk about what we would do or what we wouldn't do, but yeah, once you there, you definitely have to humble yourself.
Right, right. How is balancing work and motherhood going for you?
It's good. I definitely have to watch the jobs that I choose, different things like that. It could be definitely trying sometimes, because with daycares, or babysitting, all that kind of thing, all those kind of things. So it could definitely be trying, but just got to take it a day at a time. Got to do what you got to do.
And you have to find a job that will be conducive for the time that they're in school opposed to they're not in school, because I don't know what generation you were raised in, but remember the latchkey kids and things like that in the 80s and the 90s, when the kids had to come home by themselves with the key and let themselves in, and
Right,
that
right,
was the
right,
start with the microwave and everything, the microwave
right, right.
generation, because of the hours of the parents working.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. And with that, dealing with that kind of, that's why I say just being careful with that, because you have to kind of balance it out. You don't want to work, work, work all the time and not have time for them either. So
Right. And going and using the village into this same statement, do you think an individual person can still we can still make our individual villages, but you just have to be sure of the people that you have in the care of your children. It may not be across the board, like you said, like the whole block took care, but then you have individuals that may live away that can be that village to help you raise your kids.
right, absolutely, absolutely.
Um, Here's a question for you. Being an African American woman raising sons, what is your thoughts on that?
Okay. Um, well, raising my boys in this world right now, um it, it could be very like, it could be very like overwhelming sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because because we know what we're up against, and we know what's going on. So I try not to put any fear in my children. I don't want to put fear in them. So I just try to be mindful of what I teach them, and what I'm placing in their subconscious mind. So it is, I I just want also, I'm sorry, I'm just going to mention this. Also, the gay agenda, I feel like that's happening to personally our boys. Um, that's been a lot that I've been dealing with. And so I've definitely been adamant, having to be just adamant about staying on top of that, because I've had incidents. An incident that happened with my 7-year-old in school. And so, and I had to go to the board of education on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and so I'm definitely on aware of the attack. I feel like it's just an attack on our children. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just very mindful of teaching them
and and
tact.
and th- you bring up a good point because
Uh-huh.
um in the baby boomer generation, other words for saying like, they're different, or they didn't use the word gay, and they didn't use LGBTQ, and they didn't use the word lesbian. And you bring up a good point because now it's in every TV show, it's in the ads, it's in the magazines. And so are you trying to say that now more than ever that you're not being negative to those who are gay or live in the LGBT community, but you're trying to teach your children that there is a heterosexual community and then there's a gay community? And so those, right. So how would you address that with your 7-year old or your other children to let them understand that there's more than one type of lifestyle that people can live by or into?
I you know, I just let them know that some things are, you love who you love at the end of the day. You love who you love. We're just the body. This is just our
Right,
body at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We have a whole soul. So this is
right.
just the body. So I don't want them to get too caught up uh on just seeing somebody's face and automatically judge them. I'm not putting that in them, but I want to give them a choice because I feel like they're not given a choice at this point in their life. This is being
Mm-hmm,
pushed on them.
mm-hmm.
A child isn't aware of is not even supposed to be aware of anything with sex anyways at that
Right,
age. So
right.
that's why I disagree with, no, you're not going to push that on my boys. You're not just going to say, oh, this is no. If I want to introduce them, or it's a time for everything,
Yes.
and I'm in control of that with my children. So I don't want anybody. I don't want that. I don't want that to be pushed on them, and that's why I try to make them understand, like, this is not what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
this is you have a choice. You have a
Right.
choice. And it's just mind boggling. It's just a lot. It's a lot in the schools going on right now. So I've been thinking about homeschooling. So it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I've been experiencing these things too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the challenging of raising sons with hygiene, sex, dating, and as you spoke, education? You have your oldest is 11 years old and he's considered a preteen. So what age do you think you would, well, hygiene is a normal thing coming up. So how do you deal with the challenges of, you know, teaching them that and going through having the conversation of sex and dating and education? Because right now, like I said, you have an 11-year-old and he's approaching that preteen stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still kind of in awe. Like, I can't believe that. And I don't know, I try to keep them together on doing things like the togetherness, like just try to keep them together when with like brushing teeth, or when they not washing at the same time, but everybody's just doing everything in sync. And as far as like you said education, right?
Sex, dating, and education.
Dating.
Sex,
I
dating,
have
and
I have
education.
not for my 11-year-old. He's yeah, I've spoke with him. We have a definitely a open. We have a very good relationship as far as like me us talking and everything. I apologize. Us talking. He's very open with me. He has his little girlfriend. that he has right now, and I ask him little questions and things like that. But I just try to keep the floor open with him because I just want him to be able to come to me and talk to me and just trust me and everything like that. So um, yeah, I just try to keep the floor open and not be too overbearing on him and everything. Because I have been, and he's been open enough to tell me when I am, and I'm open enough to change those things and work on that. So.
And it's a touching age at that age, because when you tell them, if you say no or say that that's not kind of how you do it or that's not right, it seems like those are the things that they want the most, the ones that you say no to. you know yes. And so if he has a little girl, then you do have the conversation of sex and dating, because it may not be him, or sometimes it might be the female that might be rushing the guy to take that next
And
step.
I've had that conversation too. I say,
Well,
listen, some girls are a little faster than boys now, Bryson. On this, so yeah, I've had that conversation with him too. And
uh-huh,
I've also had
uh-huh.
to find myself having a conversation with him as far as like um just not being careful with approaching girls or that touchy stuff and things like that. I've had to talk to him about all that kind of.
Mm-hmm. 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 You froze. You froze. You froze. You're frozen. A little technical difficulty right now. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you back? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And so, your perspective of motherhood before you came a mother, how has your perspective changed, or did it change? Did you already have some ideas of what type of mother or parent you wanted to be before having your sons? And have they changed since you had your sons?
I only wanted a boy and a girl. I was gonna be done with a boy and a girl. I was like, all I needed two. Um, so that definitely changed. That was the big change. Because I
Mm,
had my 6 and 7 year old back to back. So that was
mm,
a lot of that was like a trauma thing for me at that time. So yes, it was I always said that I would like I said earlier, just be more loving and connect with my kids and make sure I talk to them and let them know I love them and things like that. That I always said that I would do, and I do that.
mhm.
And so that was pretty much it. I've always loved children. I've always used to have my cousins and my niece. I used to have kids before I had kids. I've always
Okay.
got my little cousins and stuff. So I've always loved children. It never was, a big issue or nothing like that.
Hmm. With the climate of blacks in America and policing, what do you say to your sons if they ever should be approached by a police officer?
Um, I haven't spoke with my sons about that. About any of that. Not even my 11-year-old. I kind of, like I said earlier, I don't want to put no fear in them when it comes to stuff like that. But when I do have that conversation, I would definitely make them aware. Like I said, show respect at the end of the day. Respect is due to a dog. Um, but at the end of the day, I just, oh gosh. I just feel like I don't want to put them in fear of the police, if you understand
Right.
what I'm saying. I don't want them to freeze up when they see the police or nothing like that. But I would make them aware. I would make them aware of what's been happening in the world. Not only because there's nothing new up under the sun. It's just done new. It's just new day and age now. So
Right.
this has been happening. This been happening. This been going on.
Right.
So um, you know, I'm big on ancestors. So I always tell my sons to call on their ancestors for protection. I always speak to them about, you know, just making sure they protecting themselves. I really don't, I haven't really thought as far as like what would that conversation be, with them. But
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that I guess I will put it in their face, like actually show them
Mm-hmm.
what's happening, so they could know what to look for, things like that. But I just don't believe in putting that fear in their subconscious mind to where when they see them, they just freeze up, or they be so terrified that they might do move or do something. I'm just yeah.
So are you waiting for your 11-year-old to get to a certain age before you have that conversation with him?
I would say that, but I feel like he's old enough right now to really understand. My son is very smart, so he can understand what I'm saying. And he's aware. He's also aware of what's going on in the world too. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I just don't like to put 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 fear in my children. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't. I'm just not going to put fear in them as far as with the police, but I will make him, aware of what's going on, so he could know who these people are and what these people are about, or,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody is not that. So I
Thank
don't
you.
want
Right.
him to go around and be like, oh, da, 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 da. So that's why I don't want him to, I don't want to teach him hate, because that could turn into something else too. So
Right.
just being, yeah, just try to be mindful on, I guess, how I approach it or how I talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to people who say a woman can't raise boys into men?
I believe that's a true statement. um that's a true statement to a certain extent, because we got to do what we got to do at the end of the day, but we all know that that balance comes with a man. So at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, we all know that, yes, a man plays a major role in raising, in raising sons, raising boys. So I would say that, we could do it, but it's not really not supposed to be done like that. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So we could do it, but I don't personally, I would love to have that support. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy just waking up every day doing everything on my own. But I'm not gonna just have anybody around my son just for me to have my kids, just for me to have that male, that
Male mentor.
masculine energy. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
just going to do that either. So I'll wait, and I'll occupy my time while I wait, and I'll be, the best mama that I can until that happens. But in place of that, I say we definitely should be adamant about getting father figures around them, getting them around males, or playing sports, or finding that guardian or someone that can be that for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's something that we definitely should do. But
Mm-hmm.
not just have different men, or just different men coming in and out, or just here. Because a man, you can have a whole boyfriend or husband, and he ain't doing nothing but just there, a whole body.
Right.
So
He's just there physically and not mentally and emotionally.
exactly.
Right. Do you ever find yourself taking the role? Because in the 80s, when I was a single parent, we used to
Mhm.
say, we had to split our roles. Some days we the mother, and some days we are the father. Are the millennium saying sometimes taking the role of the father as far as discipline or having another mental attitude because you don't want that soft side of a woman to show because you have to be tougher sometimes to raise boys?
Oh yeah, and I have struggled with that. Matter of fact, I still work. I'm still working on that because after becoming, after I was a single mother for a couple of years, I'd say about 3 or 4 years, I met my my last three children's father, and we was together for a few years, and engaged and everything. So I had that family dynamic for some years and everything like that. So once that left, I was more in my feminine energy around that time. So
Right.
once that left, it was a change. I went through a whole it was a trauma that happened to me at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
after I had my 4-year-old, that's what happened. And so I went through a big depression. And so it was just I feel like I did take on a more masculine energy because that's all I had was my boys, and I'm not raising no you know
Girls. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I had to adapt. And so but I over the time, as I got older and wiser and got to knowing myself more, I realized, I didn't even know anything about that word feminine or masculine and nothing like that. So once I learned what that meant and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm really around here like a whole goddamn man around here. And I got out of touch with my feminine side. And so that's what I've
Mm,
been actually working on these past little years, just getting more back into my feminine energy and balancing it out.
right.
Because having boys, that's exactly what it brings, more masculine. Unless you just, yeah.
Right, because they play with the cars, they want to do the sports, and they want to get down in the ground and get dirty and play
Yeah,
and everything like that. So you really don't have time to put on your frills and your
there you
earrings
go.
and your
There
lipstick and
you
stuff
go.
like that.
Right.
Right, and I understand. And this is good to have these conversations because it's still in you and you're beautiful. And then the older they get, then you
Yeah.
can do more of your feminine things that you
Right.
so coming out of it? Are you doing better? Have
Yes,
you gotten
yes,
over it?
yes. And that was the key thing. The older they got is yes, it's like now it's coming up, it's coming more, and it's way, way easier than it was in the beginning. It definitely was. Because
Mm-hmm.
it really
Mm-hmm.
wasn't after I had my other three children that happened.
Right,
It was just a
right,
big drastic change. And so yeah.
right. And let me ask you this. Um, And aren't you feeling that as a parent, the hardest thing that parents have to learn is to deal with their own growth while they're dealing with their children?
Mm,
And it's not just if you have one child, but you have three other children, and then you have to handle their personality and characteristics growing from an infant to a toddler to a young adult. And so motherhood is not easy because you have to understand their characteristics and how it fits in with yours and your growth. So how are you dealing with that and balancing that? Because I know some days are easier and some days are harder. So what do you do when you're in that crossroad?
I do a lot of spiritual baths. I do a lot of cleansing baths. I try to keep my aura cleansed. I try to keep my vibrations high. I like to go outside in nature, ground myself in the grass, hug a tree. I just try to really, really stay grounded. Grounded. I do reading too. I like
Mhm.
reading. And so on my right too, I do journaling. I journal. I've been journaling since I've been a teenager. I still have my books and my journals and everything. So I just try to do more releasing. Try to release. Try to just release a lot. Just release. And and yeah, so that's more so what I do. And then
Because
sometimes I just like taking I sometimes I just like taking them out sometimes too, and going to the
Mhm.
beach as a family, and we just go to the water, go to the beach or something like that. Because sometimes it's not even about me. Sometimes they need a break from me too. It ain't about me needing a break. Sometimes the kids need a break from the parents.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because often one of the things that happens in families is when the child gets older and they bring back to you a specific incident that happened to them, and they'll ask you, why did you make that choice instead of that choice? But it's often said that when we're into that parenting mode with that child when they're little, is based on where we are at
Mm,
mentally and the things that's happening in our world around us that causes us to make the choice that we made. And it may not be intentional or the consequences that comes out, but we just know as a parent that we have to make a choice on that situation. um so what do you think about that? Do you think you go, we all experience it one day or another, you know, because you're looking at your child grow, like your 11-year-old. How do you handle him going through his different stages of life while you're going through yours? And like you said, children need a break from us too.
absolutely, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. I totally agree. I'm like I say, I think the oldest child go through the most with you. They know you the most too. And yeah, my son is he's a very, very understanding son. Like even when he was little, I've always talked to him, not as a baby. I never did baby talk with any of my children, but I'm just speaking on him because he was my firstborn. So I never did like baby talk or nothing like that. So I've always, like I said, been open to him and different things like that. So when he does have an issue or feel like he needs to say something, he's not afraid. He's not afraid. I've opened that floor for him to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So he's come to me and ask me things, but we just I'm just so open with him. We just have an open conversation. So he's very, very forgiving. Like he's very supportive. He's like a big he's a big brother. Like he really is a big brother. Yeah.
So, okay, what's the biggest compromise you have to make with your sons, or do you have to make a compromise?
I think work I have to definitely compromise working uh the jobs that I choose. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think that's more so and like I said earlier, my I feel like my feminine side was definitely I
Yeah,
definitely had
compromise.
compromise. Yes, like that was definitely compromised.
Right. Because you
But
have to say, these are my things, these are your things, yes, and everything, and being who you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
other than that, um I don't really I don't know too many other things that I really had to compromise. I mean, what time? But heck, that's the choice that you made with having children. So
Mm-hmm. What do you feel about the phrase spare the rod, spoil the child? What is your thoughts on that phrase?
I believe that phrase. Definitely believe that phrase. Um, I feel like it worked for us, so it definitely will work for this generation. I feel
We're
like
here
that's
to
what
tell the story. We're here to tell the story.
I feel like it's not enough of that going on. It's not enough of that. And I'm not saying that, you have to, I'm not saying like whipping your children or nothing like that. It's still ways to go around it. But, I feel like when you don't have enough discipline, in place, then kids do run wild. They feel like they can get over you. And in fact, they start getting over you eventually. And start running you and you don't even realize
Mhm.
it.
Right.
So I definitely believe. I believe in that. I believe in that.
Parenting does not come with instructions. If it did, what is the one thing you think all mothers should do and shouldn't do?
Oh, these are my things I kind of kept that I wrote on my do's and don'ts. So I feel okay. So the do's is I definitely feel like definitely show attention. Show them attention. Show them attention. Um, and tell them you love them verbally. You know,
Mm-hmm.
make sure they hear that. They hear that. That I love you. Um, I also say like you were speaking on earlier about that village, but you know it may not be the whole block, but you still have those certain people that you have. I feel like definitely pay attention to who you have around your kids. You know, pay attention to how they act around certain people because kids can see spirits and energies on people that we cannot. And I've always been big on, you know, if a child cry, you can tell the different cries of when they just don't want to, they just, you know, being spoiled and don't want to leave you versus them actually in a cry for help or terrified of a person. You know, pay them attention enough so you will know those different cries. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
because if you show a little child a person and they get upset and cry, there's something there. They can't speak
Absolutely.
it. Right. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Especially those hand babies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and patience,
Mm-hmm.
patience, patience is that's yeah, patience, and respect the children because you know we feel like because we're adults, we parents that we can just say all kind of things and talk to them all kind of ways. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we definitely kids deserve respect too. And let me see. Me time. I feel like me time is a must. You know, whatever you got to do. If you got to wait till they go to sleep, wake up 3 in the morning, get some me time in. Like that's a
Mm-hmm.
must. You got to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 in the morning, get that me time in. Like that's something that I didn't do enough of, and that's why I used to get so overwhelmed, just being totally just doing everything and not taking any time, nothing for myself, and then I wonder why I'm so depleted. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I've definitely learned to just take some time, even if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes out the day. Just sit down, chill, get with your thoughts, like really listen to yourself. Just see what your body's saying. You know, see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Hugs and kisses. I say
Mm-hmm.
hugs and kisses
I love
because
her.
the pandemic has taught us not to hug and touch each other no more. So
Mm-hmm.
hugs, man. People need hugs.
Mm.
Hugs definitely. I forget what it does when you hug somebody,
I
but
love a hug. I love a
hug
hug.
the baby, ma'am.
I love a hug better than a handshake. I love a hug. Now I'm
Absolutely,
not gonna hug
absolutely.
everybody, but I love a
Right,
hug to those
right.
that I know that I see.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So just hugging your babies and touching them, touch on them, hug them, and kiss them. Okay, so oh yeah, and reading, letting them read, or reading to them, or giving them something to read, versus always teaching, or trying to input things in their minds and stuff. Just give them a book to read.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something on something that you may want them to know about. Just give them a book versus you always constantly trying to teach them, and listen to them too. Listen to
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And then don'ts I would say is try be mindful of like yelling and raising your voice, stuff like that. You know, I dealt with a lot of yelling. So I found myself definitely doing that a lot. So that's something that I'm like, nah, it's just not a good feeling to constantly hear that all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and things like that, and no shaming, and oh yeah, don't bash the daddy, like don't do the
Mm-hmm.
daddy bashing thing, stuff like that. Like just let them learn on their own. That's how my mom did us. Like she never bashed my dad. She just said when y'all get older, y'all could, y'all see for yourself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what I would say.
And and do, this is a controversial question. Do you think boys should be raised different from girls?
As far as
Well,
what,
sometimes in a household, when you have boys and girls, the mother
hmm
tends to show the girl more how to be independent and how to clean, wash dishes, do this, that, and the other thing. Do you think that boys need to be taught that also? Because some parents say that they teach them different, how to grow
Got
up and be on
you.
their own.
Got you. Yes, I absolutely believe that because they still have to be independent. They still have to know how to survive on their own. So
Hmm.
yes, I totally agree. And heck, I've experienced because I haven't like my 11-year-old. He doesn't wash dishes like that. But now I'm like, you know what? See, this is something I should have implemented a long time ago. He will do it, but it's not like a constant chore. Like he'll take out the
Right.
trash, but to wash the dishes. So yes, I totally yes. But he know how to clean the bathroom, like all of that. But he definitely wash dishes. He definitely go. That's going to be something that's going to be implemented more. But I guess the age that you start teaching them that, you don't want to overwhelm them with so much. But
Hmm.
yes, I agree. I think they definitely should know how to be independent.
Hmm. 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 And you said that your vision, you said, show our youth that we can't control how we were trained or conditioned to think about ourselves and others in the world, but we can use all of it to create the life we desire through knowledge of self, meditation, and wisdom. So let's create new mindsets in order to start creating a new reality and do the work. Can you explain how that thought came about, and how you go about implementing it?
Um, I've I definitely have learned a lot of different things over these past years on my journey that I've been on. I've been getting a lot of different knowledge and different things like that on where we're from, where we came from, and different things. So I feel like we definitely been lied to a lot about who we are as a people, as Black people, whatever you want to call it. But we've been lied to a lot. We really don't really know where we're from, anyways. And so they say we from Africa and stuff like that, but we're not from Africa. We right from here. We are the Aborigines of this land. We're from America. We're from here. So yeah, our brothers and sisters, that is like kinfolk. That's like our brothers and sisters, the Africans. But no, we didn't come from Africa. So I feel like at the end of the day, if we don't really know where we come from, how do we really have a foundation? So I feel like knowledge, when you start to dig a little deeper and you really get to learn yourself, I mean not learn yourself, just start finding out the truth of what's really been given to us through school and what we've been taught and manipulated and what we've been conditioned to believe. I really believe that the starting place is to really dig a little deeper and not just continue to listen to the lies that we've been told. And so that's why I say, with the generations to come, these kids, they don't have a foundation. And the old ways are just, they're not as potent as they used to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I feel like if we knew who we really were, I feel like we would move different. I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
would value ourselves more. I feel like that village or that grandmama love, not just that foundation that I feel like we did have before. I feel like that would be implemented more. That our kids would respect each other more. They would love on each other versus killing or backstabbing each other. All the stuff that we believe that we are, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how we act. You know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what they tell us that we are, and so I'm just adamant, and that's what I teach my boys too. But I'm not forcing anything on them, but I'm definitely letting them know who they really are. I don't believe in continuing, the continuing lies and different things like that. So that's what I mean by just when you can move different. When you
Mm-hmm.
know better, you do better, and
Mm-hmm.
so I hope I explained that.
Yes. So you said, when did you start? You said that you were a licensed cosmetologist. When did you decide to start your own business? And you said you were in school prior to having your first son. And so, how's it going now? Are you in business? What are you up to now?
What am I up to now? I'm doing hair still. Yes, I'm doing hair. I was licensed last year with doing wigs, so I've journeyed on to something new with hair because I kind of got bored with. I never was into the wigs and all that kind of stuff like that. So I kind of just I wanted to do something different, and that's how I've always been. I'm the type that I go against the grain. I'm not a I don't do everything everybody's doing. So I'm doing that, and it's definitely been going good. I invested in myself and did that, and and yeah, and so other things that I have that I do is like I sell candles. I have herbs that I do, herbal teas. I have a lot of herbs that I have, and I do. Gosh, I have a few things that I do.
And, and
I
that's
have a few
underneath,
things.
and that's underneath Hollywood Creations. Tell us about
Everything is
Hollywood.
underneath
Tell
Hollywood
us about
Creations. Yes, ma'am.
Hollywood Creations. What's your mission and what's your goal?
Hollywood Creations. I started that when I was on my spiritual journey. I ended up starting that with doing my candles, and I had different oils, incense, and my herbs, and that's what I started just trying to teach people about natural healing and different things like that that we really don't know, we really not aware of, or we kind of got away from. I'm gonna say we got away from it because our
Holistic.
grandparents and our ancestors always gave different things. We just didn't know what was going on at that time. So we
Right.
just got away from it. So I was kind of trying to bring triggers and trigger our minds, our subconscious minds, and different things like that to try to bring these memories back so we could start implementing these things again. And so that's really my mission, like to just bring knowledge to our community and to really just let people know, that first of all, self-love is the best love, but knowledge of self is also important too. You got to know thyself. You really got to know yourself, and not to look outside yourself, because everything you need to know is within you. And
Mm,
so, and that's what meditation does. It helps you to, when we pray, we asking. And so when we meditate, we receiving. And
mm.
so that's what both of them is very important, but we've always been taught to pray, pray, pray. So, sometimes you have to receive, you have to sit and listen,
Mm,
and receive messages from spirit. And
mm.
so that's what I was more so just trying to implement that. And like I do tarot readings too. I was doing tarot readings at one point. I kind of backed away from it for a little bit when I was going through my little transition. But I definitely am excited about getting things back going. I was selling crystals too, yoni steams. I was doing all of that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely
What's
on
a
the road
yoni?
of
What's a
yoni
yoni?
steams.
Hmm.
So you remember back in the days when I'm hearing grandmas them used to do like the sit baths after y'all had the baby, after y'all had children and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's like it's almost like a sitz bath, except it's with herbs. We putting herbs in it, and then you pour, make it hot, and you sit on top of it with a gown, and it basically cleans you out. It's like it's more spiritual for me. I feel like it's just more
Okay.
spiritual, and it basically cleans you.
Okay. So what's next for Miss Sanford?
What's next for me is I'm definitely actually I'm working on me and my cousin and my sister is working on starting a podcast. And it's a family podcast, and it's a family podcast. So we're working
Okay.
on doing that. Just to bring just to try to talk about situations that we go through as a family, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to bring people on the platform, and we talk about it and open conversations and things like that, and stuff like that. So that's something new that we just put in the air. But as far as just me personally, I'm getting everything back on the road as far as my candles, getting my inventory back together, because I kind of backed away for a good year from doing anything. And so
Hmm.
I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready now to get things back going.
Okay. What is your favorite scripture, phrase, or testimony that keeps you grounded?
My favorite scripture is quote is whatever you want to call it is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That was one when I had my outreach ministry in my church. That was my main scripture that I had printed out. So that was and it still is my favorite. Yeah, that's what keeps me going.
What leave us with some wisdom for single mothers, young girls who become mothers at an early age. Wisdom for single mothers and for young girls who become mothers at an early age.
Um, don't don't beat yourself up first of all because we've been doing this for a long time. Parents been kids. Y'all everybody teenagers having babies. So I think sometimes we just put too much emphasis on teenage kids and stuff like you know. So I just say don't beat yourself up and you got to take it a day at a time. Um, because the kids are literally a side of a personality of yours. They come literally from us, so it's just another. I feel like just another one of our personalities. Of course, they have their own too. So I feel like sometimes we may look at our kids uh, as us at times, and so just be mindful of making sure they're separated because they are us, but they still are their own. and
Mhm.
um and just love on yourself. The kids need love too, but just make sure you love on yourself and appreciate yourself and take time for you. And but don't forget about the kids either, because sometimes we do take too much time for ourselves, and the kids are left in the background. So
Mhm.
make sure you just balance that out. And we know when kids need attention. We know they tell us, they let us know everything. So whether it's indirectly or directly, that's why I say pay attention to them. Make sure they feel that love, because if they don't, they're going out there to get it. They go find it somewhere, and
Yeah,
somebody's going to be willing to give it to them too. You know.
don't make it the
So
right kind, but they're gonna look for it and think it's
oh
the right
yeah.
kind. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure you just try to balance it out, and if just find that middle point to where you could balance it out, and be great. It won't be like this fall. It won't be like this all the time. And
No,
have faith.
they grow up real fast. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, and don't get so caught up on, oh, y'all need to hurry up and get it. Oh, y'all need to hurry up and because you gonna miss it. You gonna miss that time that that you could have had and spending with them when they was little, because they just listen to you. They want to just they just want to be up under you. They want
Mm.
to, and so that will come a time where they're not gonna want that no more.
No.
And and
Yes.
sometimes, with some parents, they get angry and upset when the child becomes a teenager, but you didn't really spend too much time with them then. So then they want that time now, and it doesn't happen like that. So
Mm.
I just say be mindful of the time that you give to your kids, because money doesn't replace that time.
Mm.
Time is more important than money. You could buy your kids everything, whatever they want, but that doesn't matter. It only spoils them. It only spoils them, and they want more. And
If
then
you
you
didn't
you
give them,
feel
if you didn't give them that quality time, toy is a
right.
toy. But if you didn't give them that one-on-one quality time, sit down, hug, let's have a conversation. Like
I'm
you said,
telling
it's
you.
going to be lost because when they get older to a young adult, then you're saying, why you not having this conversation with me? Why you not talking to me? What's going
Right.
on? And they really don't want to say, well, I didn't have it as a child. You know what I'm saying? Because now they thinking more of your feelings.
Right.
And they'll show you more in actions than they would verbally.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. Well, in honor of Mother's Day, Miss Sanford, thank you for coming on and having this conversation with me as a single mother. You're doing wonderful. I'm sure those boys are going to keep you busy. And
Yes, ma'am.
so, yes. And so, have a blessed Mother's Day and have a blessed rest of the day.
You too, ma'am. Y'all all have a happy Mother's Day too.
Yes.
Blessings.